All right, so we're gonna start by recording this Omaha session where we get heads up here versus TMC stacks. Good player. First hand we pick up pocket king, single suited. We 3-bet and we are called. On this flop, we block deuces, somewhat relevant. We block some king high flushes, which is somewhat relevant. But we decide to go for a check here, and he checks back. On this turn here now with 2 flush draws, 2 spade draws, and a bunch of straight draws can now potentially get there. I decide to pot lead here. I block pocket deuces. I block 4-5 to an extent, and I block some of the clubs. So I expect to win here just almost always with a bet. But when he calls, what checks back flop that then calls turn? Well, it could be pocket sixes, although I think pocket sixes would probably raise. It could be all spade draws. It could be 9-7. It could be 7-5. All of this stuff just calls. And then when the river comes a 7 that is not a spade and is not a club, we're stuck asking ourselves, okay, well, what just calls turn that checks back flop? And it's almost always 2 spades or 9-7 or 7-5, and we beat all that. So the only hands that really get there are a hand like 9-5 of spades or like 4-5, which would have already been a straight of spades, or what else? I mean, that's pretty much it. Some random 2-pair might get there. But again, I don't expect a 2-pair here to do anything but check back when that straight comes in, because I could have the straight too. Anyway, we check to him and allow him to act on this river, and he goes all in, and we go into the tank. And again, we block 4-5. We block a set of deuces. We think the club's brick, the spades brick, 9-7 bricks, 7-5 bricks, and we make the hero call. And he ends up having 2 blockers to the straight jacks, and yeah, that's it. I mean, he didn't even have a draw at all. So we take that pot down. Quick $200 our way. Let's see the next relevant hand here. What happens here? Nothing happens there. Okay, here's a hand. So we open king 7 queen 5 double suited, and he just calls out of the small blind. We flop 2 pair here with the nut spade draw. I decided to pot it here. He just calls. The turn is a 6, which is not good for us. It brings in the straight, it brings in a different flush draw. Higher 2 pairs get there now with like ace 6 and stuff like that. So what I do here is I decide to bet small enough to charge hearts and charge any like 7-8 type hands, 7-4 type hands, 5-4 type hands, all that. Small enough to do that. And if he raises, we know exactly where we're at, but we can still call. So we bet small enough that if he pots it, we can still call, and we can still see a 7-5 or spade for the nuts on the river. Plus, if he's raising here as a bluff on the turn, he may just give up river as well. So we go for thin value here with the expectation to call a raise. And he does raise. And again, any 7-5 or spade will probably give us the nuts, and he could be bluffing here. I don't think he's bluffing, but we still have decent equity. Turn gives us the nuts, and he shoves. We obviously snap call, and he ended up having, I believe, a straight. Yeah, he had the low straight. Or wait a minute. No, he had a set of 6s. He turned a set of 6s, and then he had the low straight, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, we ended up taking that pot down too. What's this pot here? Let's see. Open. Flop the diamond draw with the open ender. We pot here. We get called. We brick the river, and we just check give up. That was probably calling another one. What's this hand here? Open 5-6, jack 7. We flop top 2, bet and win. Here we just complete Oh yeah, this was a weird one, but we complete here. Goes check check, and he bets and he calls. So now we're priced in with like this double gutter that we have. We can hit a 7 or a deuce for a really disguised straight. Obviously a 7's not the greatest, but it is something. And we do have a backdoor flush draw as well. So we make the call. The turn's a 10, and I think here, if we're check 2 and whatever he's betting, we can kind of freeze him with a bet unless he's got a super made hand. Like even a 2-pair hand, if he has it, might be stuck just calling now on this turn. So I decided to go fairly big and just to try to freeze him and take over the betting lead. We do have a pair now to go with our double gutter. He calls, and the river is a 10, so now we beat all 2-pair unless it's ace 10, obviously. And we go for a check call here, and he just checks back. So he ended up having 9-7 on the turn, not much, and we take that pot down too. Here we flop a set of 3s, and we just bet and win on the flop. And then here's another one. 4-5, we just call. We flop the straight with the heart draw, the higher straight draw, if anyone has a straight already. We get shoved on, and we just take that pot down. Both runouts, I believe. Yep. Here's another good one. King, king, jack 9, single suited. We open, we're called by 2 opponents. And here we have 2 overpairs, but we block all the Broadway straight draws. Like we block king 10, which could raise us. We block ace kings. We block anything with a king in it that has a draw. We have the jack of clubs, which somewhat blocks club draws. And we also have a jack, which blocks the jack. So I'm comfortable just betting here into 2 opponents because I feel like it's less likely that we'll get raised just given the other 2 cards that we have. And we get called in 2 spots. So when I get called in 2 spots here, I'm thinking 9-10. It could be king 10, even though we blocked that, but mostly probably 9-10 in club draws. So I opt to bet here again fairly big, and we get called again. So now what calls here that doesn't raise us? Well, it's definitely not a made hand. I mean, it could be a queen jack, maybe a queen 7 type hand, but I mean, again, we block the jack. We have a fairly confident read here that is probably a straight draw / club draw. And this gentleman here folds. The river's a brick deuce. We only lose a random 2-pair, queen deuce or something like that now. And he checks, and we just check back now. There's no point in going for too much value. And he has the straight draw with the flush draw. So we take that pot down too. Anything else? And then we had the go here. So yeah, that was our heads up session at Omaha so far. Again, we're not great at Omaha. We like to play. I think it's the same principles pretty much as Hold'em. But yeah, let us know what you think of those plays. And maybe I'll release more of these videos if you like this type of video. Please follow, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time.